welcome to this edition of News Leader. Today is Tuesday, August the 29th, 2023. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, another Chick-fil-A comes to the area. Jenna Almacher has to pay non-resident tuition for Tullahoma schools, and not the least excitement of the week, Tullahoma bought home the coffee pot on Friday night. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader.
Hi, my name is Ringo, here at Barkview Senior Living. They're human-friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Barkview. A Parkview Senior Living. For your dog's best friend, you.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. A new Chick-fil-A restaurant will begin serving the Manchester community on Thursday, August 31st. Chick-fil-A Inc. has selected Chandler, England as the independent franchise owner. The Manchester location is at 2690 Hillsborough Boulevard, right in front of Home Depot. The Manchester restaurant joins 36 other Chick-fil-A restaurants serving the wider Nashville market. At Chick-fil-A Manchester, Mr. England will be responsible for all day-to-day activities of the business, including employing approximately 120 full and part-time team members, serving guests, and cultivating relationships with local organizations and businesses. England brings a decade of experience to his role as the local owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Manchester. Starting as a team member at Chick-fil-A Fountain City in 2013, the Tennessee native learned the ins and outs of the business and was promoted to Director of Operations in less than 6 years. In 2020, England was selected to join the Chick-fil-A Leadership Development Program, where he traveled the country supporting new restaurant openings and learning on-the-job training to prepare him to lead a restaurant of his own. Now England and his family are excited to establish their restaurant in Manchester. But plan your visit, they are closed on Sundays. The Tullahoma City School Board of Education recently ruled that Tullahoma Alderman Jenna Almacher was responsible for tuition payments from the 2022-23 school year, as her child was considered an out-of-district student. Later in the meeting, Almacher addressed the board and said she was, quote, accosted this past year, with the school system being a, quote, valiant supporter of the efforts against her, that she was not a resident of Tullahoma, noting that her trial in March ruled in her favor and stated that she was a resident. The basis of the trial was that the Office of District Attorney General Craig Northcott claimed that Almacher vacated her residency in the city of Tullahoma after selling her property on Amherst Drive in February of 2021, then finalizing a sale for property on Ledford Mill Road 6 months later. The argument by Northcott's office indicated that Almacher was not living or residing at the property on Ledford Mill Road, but rather on a family-owned property on Blue Creek Road, which is in Franklin County and not within the city limits of Tullahoma. Under the city charter, in order to run for either alderman or mayor of the city of Tullahoma, one must reside within the city limits. The city charter also indicates that an alderman and mayor must continue to reside in the city limits for the full term. The trial concluded with Judge Robert Carter ruling that Almacher was a resident of the city of Tullahoma, though he did acknowledge that while Northcott did prove that she lived outside of the city limits, he concluded that the intention of Almacher to permanently reside at her property on Ledford Mill Road was enough to establish her as a resident. Let's go to video of the exchange, followed by the vote.
Individuals desiring to appear before the board shall submit a written request with descriptive materials to the office of the director of Schools 6 days before the meeting. If the request is approved by the Executive Committee, the item will be placed on the agenda. Individuals placed on the agenda will be recognized at the beginning of the meeting and given 3 minutes to speak when their item is addressed on the agenda. All requests submitted will be included in your board packet. And Ms. Lawson will be keeping time.
How much time?
3 minutes. And she can signal you.
Are you ready for me to begin? Okay, well, my name is Jenna Allmacher. As you know, I am an elected representative of the city of Tullahoma. And recently I was, what is the wording I should use, accosted this past year, and your school system was, a valiant supporter of the efforts against me, especially with, what was said during my trial and with your efforts to try to prove that I, in fact, wasn't a resident. However, I think to the heart of this case is whether or not I'm a resident, whether or not my child has the ability to remain continuously enrolled in the Tullahoma City school system. And to that effect, I would remind you that the Chancery Court, ruled in my favor. In light of the foregoing, it is the finding of the court that Allmacher successfully pled that Ledford Mill Road is her residence, is my residence. So that proves by the court, and those are words from the court in their order, that I am in fact a resident. All of your board policies are for non-residents, for tuition for non-residents. And I know that it helps you maybe to use the standard of where you lay your head at night, but really what that means is the Department of Education wants to make sure that you do not create a chilling effect on school enrollment. So even if a student is perhaps a family member of a non-resident, but they are laying their head in Tullahoma, that you don't turn them away at the schoolhouse gates. The very thing that you did to my child, the very thing that you did to my child, Ms. Duncan specifically, on the morning of the first day of school, when she got up excited to come to school as a second grader, was absolutely appalling. It was invidious, if you will. It was harassment. And the Department of Education provides that you do not have the right to treat any student differently with respects to your residency verifications. I have an attorney, you have an attorney, they have even been speaking over this. I went so far as to even file a temporary restraining order to make sure that this didn't happen. I filed it back in December of this year. We were basically told by your attorneys that, it would be telling based on whether or not I was considered a resident, and I understood that. And had I lost that, I would have paid your tuition and went about my business. But the fact is, I am a resident. It is based on legal domicile, and you didn't have the right to treat my child that way. Nor does she is so scared to go to school that they're going to ask her to leave every day. I have had to get out of district exception in another school district to place my child in school this year. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And your administration is causing you a lot of liability with these actions. I would request that you suspend the rules, because 3 minutes is absolutely a slap in my face considering what I have been through.
Do I have a motion to extend Ms. Allmacher's time for 3 more minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Teresa Lawson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Andy Witt. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Ms. Stidham?
All in favor.
Thank you. You have 3 more minutes, Ms. Allmacher.
The Department of Education provided some guidance to schools all across the nation, and what's called a Dear Colleague letter issued on May 6, 2011. And I would encourage you to take a look at that at some time. But it has information about what you can do based on the McKinney-Vento Act, which you all know to be the acts that protect homeless children, for example. And I wanted to just show you what they classify even as homeless. Homeless children and youth are children and youth who are sharing the housing of other persons due to loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason. I would almost express to you my situation might even qualify under the McKinney-Vento Act. But even if it didn't, A parent must be permitted to establish residency. This is on question 3. How can students meet requirements to show current residency in a school district? A parent must be permitted to establish residency using any of the alternative methods provided for by state or local law. States and districts cannot apply different rules or apply the same rules differently to children based on their or their parents' actual or perceived race, color, national origin, citizenship, immigration status, or other impermissible factor. Probably the very one that you're basing this on. All students must be treated equally. A district should review the list of documents that can be used to establish residency to ensure that the documents required would not unlawfully bar or discourage a student from enrolling in school. The goal is to not create a chilling effect on public school enrollment. I would also submit to you that the state of Tennessee is taking valiant efforts even this year. It's already passed all the way through the Senate, essentially, and will be heard this year. It was an HB bill, I have it up here, by HB 1130 by Gantz, and it was SB 1419 by Roberts. Local education agencies that should introduce requires an LEA to provide for the enrollment of students who are residents of this state, regardless of where they live. There's now a big push with the Reason.org website and through the state that they are considering legislation this year to bar tuition. So it is not about the money, first of all, because we know that TISA gives you money based on how many kids are enrolled in your system, not on where they live. And I'm already meeting that factor because you know that I own property, I'm a business owner, and I have a house here. Actually, I have multiple places that we could live, but I have only one legal residence. That is what you must go by. However, the damage that has been done to me emotionally and to my child, and the feeling of being unwelcome as a second grader, as a returning second grader, that is appalling. I could not believe that you would allow an administrator to turn a child away at the door who was so excited to get to school.
Ms. Allmacher, your time is up.
I think I've made my points.
This evening, the issue before you is whether one can be considered a resident in Tullahoma for purposes of voting or even holding office and still be a non-resident for the purposes of enrolling in school. Ms. Allmacher considers them one and the same. However, I submit that school board policy speaks differently to this. Last week, you received a packet of information to review in preparation for Ms. Allmacher's appeal to you this evening.
Move that our board accept and approve the findings and recommendations of our administration, including the $450 assessment for the 22-23 school year.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Andy Witt. All those in favor of the motion to accept and approve the findings of the administration for the 22-23 tuition of $450, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Ms. Stidham?
All in favor, one opposed.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Parkview Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
Welcome back. News leaders John Gray spoke to THS head football coach Coy Sisk about bringing the coffee pot back to Tullahoma.
Take a knee. Take the game. 16-0. Coffee County goes down.
Hey, we'll take it however we can get it.
Right, that's right, man. But again, special teams play was just almost flawless last night.
Real impressed with that group. And as a staff, Coach Goodman kind of heads that up. Right.
Brady,
Popeye. Yes. Hey, he does an amazing job.
Yeah.
And now all the coaches pitch in. Hey, but Goodman makes sure that things are operating and doing well, and Holiday works exclusively with our kickers.
Right.
And so I told him he's probably the coach of the week last night.
Of course he was.
But
of course he was.
I mean, it's nice to be able to go out there and execute in that part of the game and see it make a difference. And I've said it a million times, a lot of coaches say it's a third of the game, but they're not. They
don't give them that much time.
They don't give it a lot of time. We try to make sure that we keep time in our schedule and we work those special teams because we understand we want to win that aspect of the game.
You know, I was our line plays pretty good too.
We're getting better.
Getting better on line play, getting a little more time, a little more room.
We're getting there right now. I mean, we're still undersized when you look at us with what we played against in the past 2 weeks. But they're becoming more fluid. They're becoming a unit. And I'm impressed, and I think there are big things coming.
We'll be right back after these messages.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails. Welcome back. Old Stone Fort Park in Manchester is estimated to be over 2,000 years old. This video, produced by the Tennessee State Parks Department, tells all the details.
Hey y'all, Park Ranger Gardner here at Old Stone Fort State Archaeological Park in Manchester, Tennessee. Here at Old Stone Fort, we are filled with 2,000 years worth of history that you can find right here on this 1.25 mile trail. So what is Old Stone Fort? Old Stone Fort is a prehistoric Native American ceremonial site. The mounds here were created by the Woodland Native Americans, the first indigenous people who would have inhabited this area. 2,000 years ago, they would have celebrated out here at Old Stone Fort, doing things that we do today to celebrate big events. They would have been feasting, dancing, there might have been some prayer going on, and there would have been thousands and thousands of people who would have gathered here at the site. Now, Old Stone Fort isn't really a fortification. That's a misnomer. Old Stone Fort is a ceremonial site. So the mounds here weren't built to keep anyone out or to keep anyone in. They were simply constructed to define a space. And the space they are defining is the field back there. That is where the indigenous people would have hosted their ceremonies. So one of the big events the prehistoric Native Americans would have been celebrating here is the summer solstice sunrise. That's a very special day, as it is the first day of summer. If we look back up the trail, we'll notice that this trail and the mounds are aligned with this very special sunrise. Old Stone Fort State Park sits between two rivers, the Big Duck River and the Little Duck River, which merged in the back of the park to form the Duck River. The river is important to the site, as it is probably the reason why the prehistoric indigenous people would have chosen this site. Most of our archaeological sites, such as this mound site, were constructed near water areas, such as the rivers. The Duck River, the Big Duck River, holds two waterfalls, the Big Waterfall and Blue Hole Falls. The Little Duck River houses one waterfall, Step Falls. So these waterfalls, or the rivers in general, are really significant to this area, as the Duck River is known as one of the most ecologically diverse rivers in North America. So that ecological diversity is going to be in invertebrate species, vertebrates such as mammals, we've got birds, we've got river otter who come out here to play. The Native Americans would have found exceptional significance for these rivers, as the rivers act as a mirror to the other side. So by surrounding their sacred site with these water features, the two rivers, they are further endowing this site with sacred significance.
We'll be right back with more news after these messages.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
Come see us at Coffee County Bank, located at 511 North Jackson Street. We are here for all your banking needs. Whether you need a checking account, a money market, or even a CD, our friendly experts are here to help you. Call us today and get your great rates and terms. We are your local banking solution. Coffee County Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
We tend to lose our motivation when we have something that's chronic, but you've got to do what you can early on as you can. After I'd exercise like that, I would have a lot of energy to do housework or whatever I needed. Well, I would recommend it highly to anyone at any degree of Parkinson.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. Many people know there is a federal tax credit for buying a new electric car, but did you know that the Biden administration passed a tax credit for used electric cars that started in January? Let's watch this video to understand what you have to do to qualify and how much of a discount you can get.
If you buy a qualified used electric vehicle or fuel cell vehicle from a licensed dealer for $25,000 or less, you may be eligible for a used clean vehicle tax credit. The credit equals 30% of the sales price up to a maximum of $4,000. If you purchase your vehicle before 2023, you don't qualify. To qualify for the tax credit, the vehicle must be purchased for your own use and not for resale. As the buyer, you can't be the original owner of the vehicle, be claimed as a dependent on another person's tax return, or have claimed another used clean vehicle credit in the 3 years before the purchase date. Income limitations also apply. Some of the qualifications for the vehicle include a battery capacity of at least 7 kilowatt hours, a gross vehicle weight rating of less than 14,000 pounds, sales price before credit of $25,000 or less, and the dealer must report the sale with the buyer's taxpayer identification number to the IRS. To learn more about this credit and which clean vehicles qualify for it, visit irs.gov/cleanvehicles.
And don't forget to tune in to this week's Living Show tonight at 6:30 p.m., Thursday morning at 9 a.m., and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evenings at 6:30 p.m. On this week's show, we'll hear about a new comedy coming to South Jackson Civic Center. Jackie Duncan will bring us some Tullahoma history, and we'll look in on some of South Jackson Goes Country's songwriters section. We'll have all that and more on this week's Living. And stay with us, we'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
One thing about Parkview, we could bring our animal out there with us.
It would have been a deal breaker if we had not been able to take Gracie.
Yeah, we would not have gone.
If you want to do something, there's something to do most of the day. You shouldn't get bored.
I really enjoy my life here at Parkview. I really choose what I want to do. We have a wonderful library with hundreds of books that I love. It is a wonderful place.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
There is a road laid out for me. First night here, but Amy seems cool. Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see. What do you think? I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 1924 at 101 degrees. Record low was in 1992 at 50 degrees. The average high for this day is 86, and the average low is 65. Mostly cloudy for tonight with a low of 62. Mostly sunny skies for Wednesday with a high of 82 and a low of 59. And sunny skies expected for Thursday, high of 82 and a low of 62. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. for News Leader. Stay safe and have a great evening.